Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage your Master of Ceremonies, ACSA President, Charlie Hoffman.
Thank you and welcome. Can I first ask you to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and be seated, please. Well, welcome to ACSA's Leadership Summit for 2021. Thank you all for being here. We last gathered for a leadership summit here in San Francisco in fall of 2019, and as you may be aware, some things about our world changed shortly thereafter. We're still coming back from that. Many folks everywhere, including San Francisco, were furloughed, laid off, lost jobs as a result of COVID. And the hotel we're in, and convention center, we are their first event that they have hosted since the world shut down in spring of 2020. And they were so excited to have you all back. And I we're all in the people business, and they told us how excited their folks were to get a call to come back to work. We're starting to host events again. I think we're the first group to use this ballroom since it's been remodeled. So on behalf of them, of everyone here in San Francisco, thank you all for making the trip and being here. To really welcome you in style to San Francisco, it's my pleasure to introduce probably the best person in the world to welcome you to San Francisco, the two-term mayor of San Francisco, a legendary Speaker of the California State Assembly, widely regarded as the most influential African-American politician of the late 20th century. Willie L. Brown Jr. has been at the center of California politics, government, civic life for an astonishing 4 decades. From civil rights to education reform, tax policy, economic development, healthcare, international trade, domestic partnerships, affirmative action. He's left his mark on every aspect of politics and public policy in the Golden State. Today, he heads the Willie Brown Jr. Institute on Politics and Public Service, where this acknowledged master of the art of politics shares his knowledge and skills with a whole new generation of California leaders, a cause near and dear to our hearts. We're excited to have him on stage today, and so please join me in welcoming Mr. Willie Brown Jr.
Thank you very much for that very kind and generous introduction. Let me thank you very much for the warm reception you gave me. It's been a long time since I've seen people stand up. You are one of the first, and hopefully, of the multiple conventions that will be coming to our San Francisco. Obviously, we have been shut down for a period of some 18 or so months in this city. All of our public facilities, all of our facilities for business, virtually every hotel in San Francisco followed the mayor's directions and the mayor's orders. Yesterday, when I mentioned to the mayor at an event that I was planning to bring greetings to each of you, she says, "You can only do it if you say you're there because I sent you." So I've got to say, for any of you that bump into anybody, yes, Willie Brown appeared. The mayor sent him. But we are, as San Franciscans, delighted to have you present. And when I received the call, tell me that I could come say hello to you, and that you are the people who are connected with helping to run our public schools, I jumped at the chance. During the time that I served as a member of the California legislature, as well as the mayor of this great city for a period of 8 years and 30 years in the halls of the legislature. In my first year in the halls of the legislature, I voted against Jess Unruh, who was then Speaker. I did not know you're not supposed to vote against the Speaker, but he had campaigned against me, so I thought it was perfectly all right to pay back. I was the first person to ever vote against Jess Unruh, and he punished me. One of the punishments he gave to me on my choice of committee assignments, interestingly enough, was the Education Committee. I was blown away that I would get the assignment because my two sisters, who were both school teachers, had insisted the only reason that I was going to the legislature, it was to do something about their working conditions. It was to do something that they wanted to have happen in the world of education. And so when I got the assignment from Mr. Unruh, I was told by others that, well, if you didn't get assigned to organizational committees that have great contributions potential and things of that nature, it means you're not on his team. Well, I was very pleased not to be on his team because every year thereafter, and for 30 years, I was the specialist in the world of education in the halls of the legislature. And that's something that I am extremely, really proud of. And I was that way because as a student, like the students you're going to honor today, as a student in school in Texas, a little place called Mineola. None of you have ever heard of Mineola. It is about the size of the Hilton Hotel in terms of how many people could live there and work there. And I was in that school, when it only went to the 10th grade. By the time I got ready to go to the 10th grade, they had added 2 more grades. Siblings before me did not graduate from high school there. They had to go to another town in which to graduate. But there was one thing spectacular about the people who ran that school. They clearly understood that the quality of life for people is extremely enhanced by virtue of what happens in the educational setting. In the state of California, I think it took the virus to make people really realize when they were at home with their children, no punishment was greater than to have them have to replace many of you in their homes. And believe me, they are really relieved that they have now gotten the schools open and gotten the kids back in your hands. And believe me, they will be grateful to you for a very long time because they will get kids away from 7.5 or 8 hours of watching television, playing games on TV, learning absolutely nothing, not being challenged, not being motivated, not interacting in a setting where children glow and grow by leaps and bounds. And schools provide that opportunity. It clearly provided that opportunity for me. I graduated from high school 25th of May, 1951, and I got a scholarship to one of the historical black colleges and universities in the South, Hempstead, Texas, Prairie View A&M. I was off to Prairie View A&M within 8 or 9 days. I had no full appreciation of how grateful my mother was to the people who gave me the scholarship and took me early on for the summer school session. because she could no longer have to worry about what was going to happen to me during the summer, which is something she had to do every year. I didn't know how much she resented that until after I'd gone off to school for the summer, realizing I was the last of her group in order to get there. And I had that discussion with her, and she said, the best thing that happened to either one of us was me having you, but the schools raising you. And so clearly, what you are about and all the things that you have to do and all the kinds of things that you provide for this democracy comes from how best we who make the decisions about what happens to in the legislature to people who are doing schools, we need to be mindful of that. And so since I came through that process, I have constantly agitated here in my own city and county of San Francisco. And it was interesting because everybody these days is changing names on everything. There are 44 schools in San Francisco, and the school board decided that they would change the names on 43 of the 44 schools. And people wondered aloud, why did you do only 43? Why didn't you do the 44th? They said the 44th was Willie Lewis Brown Jr. Middle School, and we owe more to him than we do to everybody else collectively and combined. My commitment and my involvement with schools is just exactly continuous, even though I no longer hold public office, or I no longer even accept the assignments to do anything except allow myself to come and present to you and present on behalf of our city and say to the young children, nothing is more important than those 12 years you spend growing up in schools with dedicated people who are running those schools, supervising those schools, administering those schools, selecting and approving the teaching personnel that goes in the classroom, advocating in every way on behalf of all the things needed to make that classroom a learning experience and an experience in which democracy prevails. I said to someone the other day, this nation benefited from the Little Red Schoolhouse. You are the people who are now the symbols of the Little Red Schoolhouse. We indeed thank you very much and welcome to our city. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Willie. I just told him I want his energy. Man. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the sponsors of our scholarships for the students, the 21 students we're about to recognize this afternoon, from Energy Services at Site Logic, Jennifer Butler and Des Hawes. Please welcome them.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Jennifer Butler with Site Logic, and I want to just start by saying thank you, just like Mayor Brown was saying. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for sticking with it, and thank you for providing our children an opportunity. I'm really lucky in my job. Every day we get to address equity at school districts, but it's always on the facilities level and providing good, healthy, safe facilities for students. But today we get a very unique opportunity that we're very, very happy, and that is we get to address equity and opportunity. So I'm very happy to be here today representing my company and presenting a scholarship for the students. And with me is my coworker, Des Haas, and she has a brief word.
Thank you. Another round of applause for Mayor Willie Brown, because everything that he has said is a true testament to how leadership can inspire and change the lives of so many people. And ACSA likes to call us partners for a purpose. I feel blessed enough to work for a company that does have a purpose. At the end of the day, our end users are your students. So our goal is to not only be adequate partners for the districts, but to serve as partners for the students, and to be able to have the honor of doing this scholarship year after year is honestly something that we take so much pride in with our company. And I would like to give all of you a round of applause as well, because my mom was a superintendent and it's not easy. And she started from a teacher to an administrator and all of that. So any way that we can help our students, they are our future, and making them know that we believe in them just as much as they believe in us is a huge part of it. So thank you to ACSA, thank you to you, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to be able to present this scholarship today.
Do we have the students out here?
It's a nice check.
Are the students available for us to? Okay, great.
You're all here, so you probably know what a great event this is. It was a great event before we had the support of SiteLogic. We would give the students a plaque, we'd clap for them, we'd congratulate them. Now we're able to also give them a $1,000 check, thanks to SiteLogic. So that's a big deal. As you're aware, we're having a transition in our executive leadership at ACSA this year. Wes Smith, our executive director for the last 9 years, has moved back into the field with all of us as the new superintendent at Newport Mesa Unified School District. We know he'll do a great job, and we welcome him back into the field directly impacting students, but we know we'll miss his leadership at ACSA. The ACSA board, once we became aware that we would be transitioning executive directors, began the process of hiring a search firm to begin the search for our new executive director. But their first concern was supporting our great ACSA staff that do all the work they do, from putting on these conferences to leveraging the legislators in Sacramento. And we knew they needed to be supported, and some of the support that Wes provided with his office empty might not be there. And so we went about finding and then recruiting an interim executive director who knew what we do, knew what we're about, loved ACSA, was available, and didn't want the full-time full-time executive director job. They tasked me with recruiting Mark Ecker, former ACSA president from 2013-2014, and it's now my great pleasure to introduce to you our interim executive director, Mark Ecker.
Thank you very much, Charlie. And, many of the things that Charlie mentioned in his introduction were very kind, but he didn't make mention that he also promised that he would work on my wife, Linda, so that our 49-year marriage doesn't fall apart as a result of this decision. So, but I think Linda knows how much I love ACSA, and whatever I can do to help in the transition of such a great organization is certainly my pleasure. As you know, and Charlie sort of made mention of this, and on behalf of the 6.2 million public school students, I want to recognize all of you and take a moment to acknowledge all of the extraordinary efforts and achievements during these last challenging months. California and our nation, and I dare say the world, has gone through a test that we could never have foreseen, and our schools have been at the center of this, and all of you that are working so diligently in the schools to make this transition out of COVID and get us into a better place afterwards is greatly, greatly appreciated. Charlie and I are going to be here, as he made mention as well, to recognize some students. And the Every Student Succeeding Award is something that I think all of us have come to know and love. and appreciates. One of the greatest awards I think ACSA gives. We recognize, as you know, 19 pre-K student to adult students from each region, as well as 2 California adult students for overcoming odds and making incredible achievements. This year, you may not know, marks the 25th anniversary of the Every Student Succeeding program. In fact, we were talking about it at the luncheon in which we honored those 4 students who were able to make this venture into a face-to-face format, and who you will also have a chance to meet today. Though many of our students are not able to make it here in person, we're proud to honor the year's 21 students for their achievement, for their resilience, and of course for their bravery. And so with that, Charlie and I are proud to be able to introduce to you a little differently than we did in the past, but we think with the same honor and privilege each of these incredible students.
So as Mark said, we have 19 pre-K through adult students to recognize and 2 adult ed students. We're going to read each of their stories. You'll see their pictures. Some of them will come on stage. And if you've been to this event before, you know they're inspirational, motivational, and emotional stories. So if you see us getting emotional, it's real, because these are amazing students. And you should all be proud of the support that our profession has provided in helping them overcome what they've overcome. So without further ado, from Region 1, let me introduce to you Emily Yang. Emily grew up in a household where she says she never felt safe. One of 8 children, Emily was a victim of sexual abuse by a family member. In 2018, she very courageously reported the family member to the police and testified in court. Emily and her siblings were placed in the foster care system. She never lost hope. Eventually, she found a new home thanks to Trevor Hammonds, a counselor with Eureka City Schools, who accompanied her here today. This fall, Emily became a first-generation college student when she enrolled at Humboldt State University. Congratulations, Emily.
Although unable to make it today, from Region 2, Adrian Chun. Adrian Chun was looking forward to his senior year at Wheatland Union High School. But 2 weeks before Christmas, Adrian's mother unexpectedly passed away. The school community provided an outpouring of support for Adrian's family, including a food train. After the death of his mother, Adrian's grades started to fall, and he lacked motivation. But thanks to friends and family, Adrian decided to fulfill a promise he had made to his mom: graduate from high school. He plans to major in kinesiology and wants to become a physical therapist. Congratulations, Adrian.
From Region 3, Rayanna Frejo. Positivity and responsibility are traits Rayanna Frejo has learned through the hard lessons life has given her. As she was about to start middle school in Southern California, her mother passed away. She was taken in by her grandmother. Tragedy struck again when her grandmother died 2 years later. Ray then had to leave the only community she had ever known to go and live with extended family in Northern California. Arriving at Esparto Middle School, she struggled with grief and fell in with the wrong crowd. But eventually, Ray found support from her principal, her teachers, counselors, advisors, and school staff, who she refers to as second mothers. Ray joined athletics, FFA, and leadership, making positive new connections in her school community. Congratulations, Ray.
From Region 4, Caitlin Elambayao. For Caitlin Elambayao, paying it forward is a value she champions at school. In her my fault, I forgot to call Caitlin out here, so that was my fault. For Caitlin, paying it forward is a value she champions at school, in her community, and with her family. After surviving a life-threatening medical emergency when she was 5 years old, Caitlin learned from an early age to appreciate the service and support of those around her and strives each day to give back. She embraces her Filipino heritage through community groups, volunteering and learning about her cultural history. Her inspiration comes from her family, especially her mom, and the health professionals and educators who supported her recovery. Caitlin's goal is to become a pediatrician, helping others as she was helped. Congratulations, Caitlin.
Okay, thank you. Monia Walker exudes charisma and confidence. Every morning, she made the 1-hour commute to Abraham Lincoln High School in San Francisco Unified School District. She decided to attend Abraham Lincoln as a result of limited opportunities in her home community. Monia quickly immersed herself in clubs and activities, including the Black Student Union. And this fall, she'll become the first person in her family to attend college. Monia plans to pursue a career in criminal justice at San Francisco State University. Congratulations, Monia.
From Region 6, and also not able to attend, is Hallie Evans. Hallie Evans is determined to become a doctor and break down barriers to adequate health care for Black women. Hallie herself has faced medical issues and other trauma. In 6th grade, she joined the wrestling team and excelled to 3 state championships while learning self-discipline and commitment. A result of poor math instruction in middle school, Hallie had to work even harder at her studies. When she failed a test, she told her teacher she was proud of it because it had taught her more than passing the test would have. With her strong and principled outlook and a heart driven to give back through volunteer work, Hallie is poised to make a difference. Congratulations, Hallie.
Naomi Chavez was a typical 8th grader. She earned excellent grades, enjoyed playing sports, and looked forward to high school. Then, during the summer before her freshman year, Naomi was assaulted, causing her life to begin spiraling downward. Her grades, attendance, and friendships all began to suffer. At her lowest point, some very special adults entered her life, her high school counselors. They helped Naomi develop a plan to turn her life around. The plan was scary, but she knew she had no other choice. This path led to her achieving in the classroom She dreams of one day becoming a neurologist and one day helping students overcome the same adversity and trauma that she experienced. Congratulations, Naomi.
Region 8, Nathaniel Lopez. Fifth grader Nate Lopez has lived more than one lifetime of hurt. His mother passed away while he was very young, and he and his siblings went to live with their grandmother. He experienced trauma that caused him to isolate from others. Then last year, Nate was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia and underwent numerous treatments. Through all he endured, Nate has found loving support from his warrior grandmother, Jessica, and his Del Roble Elementary Familia. With a team of educators providing him with positive interventions, Nate knows he is welcome, safe, and cared for at school. He has inspired all those around him with his grace, courage, and optimism. Congratulations, Nate.
Tyler Sheen from Region 9. By the time Tyler Sheen arrived at Central East Campus in Fresno, it was his 19th new school. As a child in the foster system, Tyler struggled to find connections with each new caregiver and at each new school. Facing discipline issues, Tyler enrolled in Pershing Continuation High School. There, he found staff members uniquely positioned to help struggling students. Tyler has made great strides dealing with his anger and making connections. He is an FFA officer and is driven by his huge heart to help whenever he's needed, whether it's counseling a peer or handing out meals to families affected by the pandemic. Congratulations, Tyler.
Region 10, Consuelo Vidal-Perez. Consuelo Vidal-Perez entered high school with a drive to learn and succeed academically. But when her mother was diagnosed with stomach cancer, she had to develop resilience. While her mother was in hospice, Consuelo worked with counselors who helped her process her fear and her grief. Throughout her painful experience, Consuelo continued with rigorous courses and competitive sports. She never missed a day of school, including the day her mother died. Consuelo has discovered her inner strength and has used what she learned to help other students experience crisis. Congratulations, Consuelo.
From Region 11, Oscar Velazquez. After the deaths of his brother and mother, Oscar Velazquez moved around a lot. One family member would take him in, and then another. He no longer had one consistent home. Oscar persevered through his grief and struggles. While working 20 hours a week at a restaurant, he boosted his grades. He also played on the school's basketball team and served in the student body. School staff supported him with all of his goals, even offering to help with a ride or help him with college applications. Now, Oscar looks forward to attending college and beginning the next phase of his life. Congratulations, Oscar.
Region 12. Matthew Barrera's life was upended at a young age of 11. His mother died, and then he had to move from Idaho to California to live with his aunt and uncle. His relatives gave him advice that helped him take on a new perspective. Look to the future, not to the past, and specifically focus on what you want to achieve. Since his move, Matthew excelled at Sequoia Middle School, earning a 4.0 GPA and joining the GATE program, Eagle News, and the school's Renaissance program. The love and support of his aunt, uncle, and school community helped him push forward. Congratulations, Matthew.
From Region 13, Isabella Francisco. Bella. Bella Francisco follows the golden rule. care for others as they care for you. Bella's positive nature has helped her create strong connections to her school community and friends, so much so that she could rely on their comfort and assistance when she lost her father to cancer before her junior year. She admitted it was difficult to remain positive. Fortunately, her counselor and other school staff lifted her up, and her involvement in activities like spirit leading and in clubs such as Surgical Club, Shelter Helpers Club, and the Recycle for Relief Club gave her purpose. She has also volunteered for her church for many years and would adopt a family in need each holiday season. Congratulations, Bella.
Region 14, Naima Dellawar. This year, 2020, or the year 2020, changed Naima Dellawar's life. In January, Naima was at track practice at Cerritos High School when she suffered a cardiac arrest. Then she had 2 more while on the way to the hospital. Naima was medically dead for 45 minutes. Miraculously, she awoke without any brain damage. In the months following, Naima had heart surgery and began her recovery process at home after the COVID-19 schools shutdowns. She was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder after suffering her trauma. With the support of her teachers and her counselor, Naima has overcome these challenges to maintain a 4.0 GPA and participate in 4 clubs and her school's Model United Nations program. She also created an Instagram page to connect with other young survivors of cardiac arrest. How about a congratulations for Naima?
Region 15, Angel Barnes. For Angel Barnes, the most devastating loss provided the inspiration to succeed. Throughout a difficult childhood, Angel depended on his older sister for support because her mother wasn't always around. Angel found it difficult to show an emotion other than anger. After the tragic loss of her sister and young nieces in a car accident, Angel worked with her support team, including special education staff, who helped her heal and gain the will to thrive. She enrolled in the A to G courses required to attend college and challenged herself to take 2 AP classes and courses through a virtual academy. Angel is determined to attend college and create a successful future for herself. Congratulations, Angel.
Region 16, Natalie Gonzalez was in the top 10% of her class and took all AP courses available at her school's STEM magnet program, but struggled with shyness and self-doubt. She joined the tennis team to increase her confidence, but this new resolve was tested with COVID-19. Not only did Natalie have to adapt to learning remotely, she also had to overcome the loss of her beloved grandfather who succumbed to the virus. Instead of allowing herself to grieve, Natalie shut her emotions off and distracted herself by overperforming in school. It took her several months to come to terms with his loss, but she can now see how her struggles have taught her to be resilient, confident, and persistent. Congratulations, Natalie.
From Region 17, Kaiyanna Han. Kaiyanna Han has faced more challenges than many people do in a lifetime, and it hasn't stopped her from setting goals and striving to achieve them. She grew up in an unstable home, struggling with poverty and abuse. Beginning at age 12, Kai moved through more than 20 different foster placements, including temporary care and independent transitional housing. Her openness about her struggles, including anger issues and trauma, have made a deep impression on the adults who have worked to help Kai gain perspective and remain committed to school. Kai herself is driven to help others, especially her younger relatives, and give them opportunities and guidance she didn't have. Congratulations, Kai.
Region 18, Zayne Higuera. Zayne Higuera never knew his father, but his grandfather was always there. Zayne and his younger brother were cared for by their grandfather until his illness made him unable to look after them, to a degree that Zayne's high school counselor became concerned at his slipping attendance and grades. When his grandfather passed away, it left Zayne at 14 in charge of his younger brother. Under CPS oversight, a family friend agreed to take in both boys and provide them with a stable home. Though at first the transition was difficult for Zayne, he never started to thrive. He soon started to thrive, allowing him to gain confidence and participate in football and wrestling. Congratulations, Zayne.
From Region 19, Adrian Grajeda. Life can change dramatically in just a few seconds. It took only that long for a piece of shrapnel from a car crash to cause Adrian Grajeda to lose his lower leg at 10 years old. He spent the following years learning to walk again with a prosthetic leg and adjusting to the extreme change in his life. With a positive attitude, a deeply supportive family, inner strength and resilience, Adrian found inspiration from those around him, including from his participation in a Wounded Warrior program. As the years went on, he played football in high school, walked the 2019 Rose Parade with the Donate for Life float, and learned to surf. Adrian plans to attend College of the Desert this fall. Congratulations, Adrian.
Miami Abdulal. Miami Abdulal moved to the U.S. in 2011, fleeing the Syrian crisis with trepidation. As a child in Syria, Miami often held a hairbrush as her microphone and play acted as a TV journalist. With limited English and learning and adapting to a new culture, Miami started ESL classes at Corona Norco Adult School. Today, Miami is an assignment editor at ABC 7. She started her journalism career by being a radio live reporter for a local Arabic FM station that caters to the needs of the immigrant community in Southern California. Her work focused on helping families navigate the U.S. system, and her show's topics include community support themes such as filling out forms and figuring out the healthcare system. Congratulations, Miami.
Also adult education, America Moreno. At the age of 18, America Moreno came to the United States to escape the violence in Nicaragua. Living and working with a language she did not understand, she faced a life in a new country without her parents while speaking only Spanish, began working in a stockroom at Marshall's, and enrolled in both ESL Level 3 and Reading Development B at Torrance Adult School. Since America joined in May of 2019, she's completed 14 courses, earned her high school equivalency certificate, enrolled in Harbor College, and is presently completing her last course for her high school diploma. She's focused on choosing a career path to help others and looks forward to attending a university. Congratulations. We congratulate this year's extraordinary students. We thank SiteLogic for their support. We thank all of you for being here today. We'll see you back in this room around 4 o'clock. Thanks for being here again, and enjoy the summit.